So, how useful is price elastic demand? Well, let's look at why it's useful first of all. So, and the main actor for whom PED is going to be useful is a firm or a business, because what they'll be thinking about is, well, what should I be doing with prices? Yeah, because if they change prices, what they want to know is how their revenue is going to be affected. So let's have a look at how that might be the case. So just to get something clear, first of all, what do we mean by revenue? Revenue isn't a firm's profit. Revenue is simply the amount of money. It's price times quantity. So if I sell 100 units at £5 each, my revenue is £500. That's not my profit, because it might have cost me £400 to buy them and process them and so on. So my profit would then be £100. So my revenue is money in. So let's have a think about. Suppose we have a business. And let's suppose, let's say that business. It was selling. Its units, its sales were 100 units, and its price was £5. So it had a revenue of £500. And let's suppose that what they decide is they decide to cut price to £4. If they do that, then that's a 20% cut in price. It's gone down by 1 out of 5. So is that a good idea? Is it a good idea to cut price by 20%? Well, if they get no change in their sales, then obviously no. If demand stays the same, then that was a rubbish idea, because they'll now have 100 units at £4. Which is only £400. But but we know that demand isn't going to stay the same. We know that demand is highly likely to rise, and the question is, how much is it going to rise by? Suppose that demand is inelastic, and that therefore it only rises by, say, 10%. That would mean that price elastic demand was minus 0.5. Demand changes by 0.5 times as much as price. What would now happen then is, instead of selling 100 units at £5, the firm would now be selling 10% more units. It would be selling 110 units at £4. So it would only have £440 of the revenue. So cutting price was clearly a rotten idea. Let's look at what happens if the firm was to increase price. This is probably going to make more sense. It's probably going to be a better idea. If we increase price when demand's inelastic, if consumers don't care, well, that's probably going to make the firm more money. So let's suppose that instead what they do is they increase price by 20%. So what they do is we increase price from £5 to £6. So again, that's a 20% rise in price. So we're still looking at inelastic demand. We know that price elastic demand is minus 0.5, so therefore demand is only going to fall by 10%. This is likely to be good news then, because we've put price up by 20%, we've only lost 10% of our customers. If we look at the numbers, then what we're now going to find is that sales, units sold, units or demand, is now 90. It falls by 10%. But we're selling them for £6 each, which is £540. So what we've got then, is that if demand is inelastic, cutting price is a bad idea. So if we got if PED is inelastic, then what we know is that a decrease in price leads to a decrease in the firm's total revenue. But an increase in price leads to an increase in total revenue. And that just makes intuitive sense. If consumers don't really care about price, then you might as well put it up. And if we wanted to show that on a diagram, there is inelastic demand. We're in the bottom half of the demand curve, which is the inelastic part. Let's suppose, let's suppose, we'll just take a different example to make the numbers easy. Let's suppose that the firm had a price of £10, and that its sales initially were 50, so its revenue was 500. It then puts price up to £20, so price has doubled, and we can see that demand has only fallen, say, 45 units. So revenue has risen, from £500 to £900, and you can show this, in the sense that was the original revenue, price times quantity, so we can show it as that rectangle, whereas the new revenue is this much larger area here, 20 times 450. Yeah, so you can show it numerically, or you can show it on a diagram. Let's suppose that demand is price elastic. Yeah, let's suppose that PED is elastic. Yeah, then let's suppose that price elasticity demand is -2. Let's take the same example then. Yeah, the firm was selling 100 units at £5 each. Let's suppose again it cuts price to £4. Well, we said that that's a 20% cut in price. Yeah, and as a result, demand's going to change by twice as much in the opposite direction. Yeah, so it's going to rise by 40%. So demand is 40% higher, which is 140. So the firm's revenue is now 4 times 140. That's 560. So in this case, cutting price has led to an increase in revenue, and that's because consumers are really price sensitive. Yeah, they care about price, so if we cut price, demand rises more than proportionally. If we do the same thing now for a price rise, then this is going to prove undesirable, because what we're going to, again, we've got our firm, it's charging a price of £5, selling 100 units. If it now puts price up to £6, which is a 20% rise, we know that demand is going to fall by twice as much. Yeah, we know that PED is -2. It's going to fall by twice as much in the opposite direction. So demand is only going to be 60. Therefore, the firm is now only going to have £360. And again, we can so increasing price when customers are price sensitive is a bad idea, because you lose more than proportional number of customers. And again, we can show that on a demand line. We can say, here demand is up in the top half of the demand curve. Let's suppose that price is, again, no, we can't do that example. There's price of £5. If we cut price to £4, we can see that quantity rises more than proportionally. The firm's revenue is clearly rising. The original revenue was that much. Whereas our new revenue is this orange area here. Revenue's clearly risen. If on the other hand, the firm was to increase price, to £6, in this diagram, quantity falls to Q3, and revenue is now only that much, price times quantity. So, in short, what that's telling us, is that, if you cut price, that's only sensible if demand is price elastic, because that'll lead to a more than proportional increase in demand, and therefore total revenue will go up. If you're going to increase price, that only makes sense if demand is price inelastic, because an increase in price only leads to a very small decrease in demand, and therefore total revenue will go up. So therefore we can see that price elastic demand, the concept, is of some use to businesses in forecasting their revenue changes.